Meat French and Racontus aim to keep Slice off the top slot for the second day in a row. Meanwhile, it's a short week, anyone's game. Can someone knock off Excited Reader 11 from first place? The truth will soon be known on the Clash of the Pencils live stream.
Turn on the stream tonight. Short stories in the spotlight. Writers bring their best to light. The story central time. Breaking down the plots. Characters that fought. Twist that hit the spot. Is all you live tonight. Are you ready for some stories? In a live stream glory. It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear. Catch the suspense unfold. Feel the tales being told. Critiques fair and bold. The truth will soon be known. Jawless from far and wide. Mysteries you can't hide. Every twist takes the door right. By these rules we abide. Are you ready for some stories? In a live stream glory. It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear.
Welcome to Clash of the Pencils live stream, the only full contact creative writing esports league. I'm Tom Sherman, joined as always by Greg the Egg Peterson. We are here to analyze the plot, character, and setting of the top short stories we've gotten submitted over the past 24 hours. So if you would like to know how to play, this is what we do. Each day, authors across the internet submit a handwritten one-page story based off a prompt revealed at the end of our live stream. The public at large then votes for their favorite story, and we reveal the winner at the end of each show. If you want to play along, it is easy and fun. All you have to do is first download the app. Links for the iPhone and Android are in the description here on the YouTube page, and then as well as the daily schedule. Basically, you have until a time, normally 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, to submit a story. After that, the top three get revealed, and you pick your favorite. Then you watch the live stream, see who wins. We update the leaderboard, take a look at the next day's prompt, and then you submit a story. And then after that, you pick your favorite. And following that, you watch the live stream. We will reveal the winner, reveal the next day's prompt, update the leaderboard, and then you guessed it, you submit a story. And then that goes on and on.
It's an infinite loop, Tom.
Thank you for breaking me out of it. Oh my gosh. I just get sucked into it every single time. I don't know why or how. All right. Woo. So now that we've figured all that out, let's take a look at the leaderboard. So, all right, Excited Reader 11 won yesterday. Carl Wrights took in second place. Neither of them got into the top three this time. They actually neither submitted stories. So, Slice, Meat French, and Racontus, anybody's game. Anybody could win today. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And this is the last day of the week, so this will be for all the marbles. Can Excited Reader hold on? He's the clubhouse leader. He or she is the clubhouse leader. But Slice and Meat French have enough points right now where they could vault over Excited Reader.
You know, there is some sort of scenario, I haven't worked it out fully, where there could be a three-way tie or a four-way tie for first place, where Racontus gets a first place, that's 20 and 20. Slice gets another 10, that's 20. And then Meat French gets a 15, that'd be 20. That'd be a four-way tie for first place. Wow. I don't even know how, you know what I mean?
I don't think our humble backend can handle that. The entire app crashes at that point.
That would be a sight to behold. So hopefully that won't happen. We'll never know until I click the next thing. All right, this is our prompt of the day. Let's refresh everybody. You're about to sit down for dinner, hear a knock at the door, and it is Sasquatch. He needs a favor. So when we think about that regarding the keys of victory here, the plot is there as far as Sasquatch needs a favor as you're sitting down for dinner, and then the characters are also there, you and Sasquatch. It's the setting, Greg, that it seems to be the key to our author's victory today.
Yeah, one of the things I'm going to look at, because we are pre-given a character of Sasquatch. Sasquatch is both a sort of human, a semi-human, and not a human. And the fact that he's making a very human requests, the degree to which he can relate to the other characters shows his ability to kind of enter into our culture. And that, I think, setting is going to be where the differentiators come. That's what the winners are going to do, like going to win on setting. How much
Interesting.
can Sasquatch actually get into this story and
Right.
function like a human in the story?
Interesting. A humanizing request from Sasquatch. Interesting to see how that interplay will come out. And so, when you combine these three elements, the plot, the characters, the setting, that triangulates to create a story, the closer an author can strike to the center of each element, the more engaging, visceral, and exciting that story will be. And so, with that, we're ready to start analyzing some stories. So, are you ready for some stories?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Song is rattling in my head all day.
All day, every day. So let's start here with our good friend Meat French with an unexpected favor.
It was a quiet evening, the kind where the world felt still. I sat down to dinner, a simple stew simmering in the dining kitchen, when a sudden knock echoed through the house. My heart skipped. Out here, in the middle of nowhere, visitors were rare. I hesitated but opened the door, and there he was, Sasquatch, towering, covered in fur, and looking oddly sheepish. Sorry to bother you, he rumbled, his voice deep but unsure. I need a favor. I blinked, trying to process. A favor. Yeah, I lost my glasses in the woods, can't see a thing. He gestured to his massive face. Sure enough, a subtle squint was visible. The absurdity hit me, but his sincerity was disarming. All right, I sighed, grabbing a flashlight. Let's go find your glasses. As we stepped into the night, I realized dinner could wait. Life is full of unexpected moments.
Okay, so here we have a main character about to sit down for dinner. All of a sudden, a stranger knocks in this isolated area, answers the door. It's Sasquatch. Needs to find his glasses. So main character grabs a fat flashlight and goes to enjoy one of those unexpected moments in life.
Yeah, as opposed to yesterday's story, when we add in the plot, chaos ensues, and you're bringing somebody back from a historical time. This was such a different moment. The tone of this was quiet. It was humanizing. It was that Sasquatch to narrator connection. I really liked the fact. All right, first of all, the setting. The setting is out in the middle where nothing. It's a remote setting. We're not in the heart of a city or a culture. So these people are the two characters are on more even footing, and we get some great words like the deep but unsure note where it's like he was deep but unsure, asking for I need a favor, and then the narrator saying I'm trying to process. Here we're able to use language to try to come at some sort of connection, but I think the setting here kind of undergirds or is foundational for letting that happen. And then we find both people are just trying to get along, find their glasses, go on their way in the forest, not getting anyone else's way. There aren't these epic battles. It was a really nice, small, controlled moment. What did you think,
Mhm.
Tom?
Yeah, I enjoyed it's a sweet sort of story where, like you say, in contrast to the crazy and zaniness that we got yesterday, um, one of these sweet moments of a neighbor helping a neighbor, and I enjoyed where both of these people or creatures are solitary, one would assume, where Sasquatch is a known sort of loner, and then this person that has a remote cabin out in the middle of nowhere, obviously they're not they're not there because they enjoy a lot of socializing. So it was a really sweet moment between two people that might not interact with each other but needed each other's help. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't
I
know,
got a
great start.
question. Do you
Yeah.
think the soup is still simmering on the table? That seems like a fire hazard to leave that unattended.
Mhm. Well, that's a good point. That and maybe that's the plot where
Is that the
that's the
plot
that's the
twist? It
plot
gets
twist.
loud. There's a
Plot twist is you return to the cabin and it is on fire. But that's what great part twos are all about, right? The sequel. Got to set up the sequel. All right, so moving on to our next story. This one's from Racontus, and it is called "Cryptid Lane, Anytown, USA."
Cryptid Lane, Anytown, USA. Charles was tired from a busy day and happy to sit down to dinner. "Ah, meatloaf, my favourite," he said. As the loaf-laden fork neared his mouth, he was interrupted by a timid knock at the door. He sighed, paused Jeopardy, and pushed away his TV tray. At the door, Charles peeped through the glass. Dusk was fast approaching, and the porch light was out. He saw a lumbering shadow. He opened the door to find his neighbour Henry's arm raised for another knock. Henry looked worried, and Charles soon forgot his cooling meatloaf. "Henry!" Charles exclaimed, opening the door to welcome his neighbour inside. "What's wrong?" Henry ducked through the doorway. Though he stood an impressive 7 feet tall, he was petite by Sasquatch standards. Henry shook his head, tears in his eyes. "I came home from work," he said, gesturing to his loosened necktie, "and saw that my heirloom flamingos are missing from the lawn. Can you help me find them?" "Of course," Charles said, reaching for his coat. "Anything for a friend." The pair set off down the cul-de-sac, peering down driveways and behind bushes in search of the wayward lawn ornaments. Through the gloom, they saw something pink. "That's it!" exclaimed Henry. "There they are." He looked at the name on the mailbox in front of the bungalow. J. Devil. "That jerk," Charles laughed. Jersey came out of the house with a steaming pot of chili. "Took you guys long enough," he said. "Come in for dinner. The table is set. I know you had long work days today." Henry was relieved. He was happy to have his flamingos back and chided his friend. "I know you can't help your trickster ways, but next time you want company for dinner, just ask."
All right, so here we have Charles about to sit down to his favorite meal, meatloaf, has to pause Jeopardy because his neighbor Henry is looking for heirloom flamingos that have been stolen from his lawn. So, after a brief search, they find the flamingos illuminating through the dark at the Jersey Devil's house. Jersey Devil comes out with a pot of chili and says, "Guys, thanks for coming to dinner." And which they say, "We're happy to come. You don't need to steal my stuff to give me a pot of chili."
Man, this is like this is four-dimensional chess in terms of hospitality and inviting someone.
Right.
Two things really struck me in comparison to the last story here. It was the fact, all right, we've upgraded from a simmering stew to meatloaf,
Mm.
and the dinner is going to be really interesting. And then we're in the suburbs. We're in the suburbs, right?
Mhm.
So there's a little bit more culture in terms of how do you invite guests over? Well, you
Mhm.
clearly steal their lawn ornaments and then do this elaborate escape room like, paper trail. And then the chili's here. And we've upgraded from meatloaf to chili. These are hearty meals, but
Mhm.
then sharing them with a friend. Both stories had a main character who was alone, and
Mhm.
then it comes into some sort of communion with others.
Yeah, I thought it was great that I enjoyed how Sasquatch lives on the same street as the Jersey Devil. That's a fun little piece of the setting. It makes me wonder who Charles was. You know what I mean? And what type of mythical creature was the main character? Maybe that's something to
Mhm.
noodle around and figure out. It was, yes, sort of similar. Like you said in the beginning too, where like both of these Sasquatches were sheepish and sort of embarrassed that they were asking for help. Um, and so yeah, I thought it was great all around. Another solid salvo here.
Yeah, and Jersey Devil, I liked they clearly knew him and liked him because it was that jerk, and I was like, "Is he a bad guy?" But then it's like
Right,
Charles laughed. So
right,
there's like, we
right.
all kinda know each other and, there's
Hmm.
reputations, there's community here.
Yeah. So that's a good another good story here. And now time for Slice to enter the foray. This story is called Ape Again America.
At the stove, I painted the bowl first with 2 scoops of blue-purple grits, placing crisscrosses of orange and white striped shrimp on top, and stars of sliced pink andouille with precision. I added bike-sized rectangles of orange, yellow, red, and green bell pepper starfish. I laid down ribbons of the spicy Cajun tomato and onion gravy. Finally, I sprinkled fresh green parsley on top. The dish popped. I almost took a picture of it to keep in my camera roll to prove to Otis that I was a good housewife. I could cook a family dinner for one. As soon as I picked up my bowl to bring to the table, Sasquatch knocked on the window. I could tell by his smile he needed something. I fixed him a bowl of shrimp and grits as he acclimated the strong notes of Old Bay and butter in the air. He danced around the table at first, killing me how the paprika made his eyes tear. After I pressed him, he told me he needed a ride to the DMV tomorrow. He was getting almost daily texts from the Kamala Harris campaign, and he was convinced this is the most consequential election of our lifetime. He reminded me squatches live much longer than humans. After dinner, he slept on the couch, and in the morning we set out for the DMV to get his license. All these years he hadn't needed identification to vote, he lamented. I knew he'd subsequently asked me to drive him to the Pine Bridge School afterwards. My day was shot, save for the upcoming entertainment of a large room full of state government bureaucracy consumers realizing they're sitting in the presence of the elusive Bigfoot. No one noticed. We waited our standard 5 hours until our number was called. Everyone was either distracting themselves with screens, so depressed about waiting for something they didn't want, or obsessed with their own lives. He got the identification card and went directly to the school to vote. We got him, hot ID'd, cast our ballots and left. Likelihood happened. He mustn't be a big deal after all. In the parking lot, he reached into his messenger bag, extracting a red MAGA hat and affixing it to his large head. The townspeople chased us off with sticks and chains. I am not voting with Bigfoot again.
Okay, so here we have the main character about to sit down to a delicious bowl of shrimp and grits, actually, with a little andouille sausage. Anyways, and then Sasquatch knocks on the door, needs help, needs to get to the DMV tomorrow to get a or to get a get an identification card so they can go vote. Then that's a cascading run of errands to then the voting poll until they get chased off by the town people.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
And then
I thought there was some interesting things going on here. I had two sentences that I just thought were really, peak slice. There was when we're in sort of in the waiting room at the DMV, it's in the presence of the elusive Bigfoot. No one noticed. I thought that raising the tension and then just kind of letting the air out of the balloon there. And then the other one, these little short kind of punctuating sentences, likelihood happened. And I think in all three of these stories, we get likelihood happening. It's running errands, and it starts with dinner, and then people are sort of in this routine. What's interesting here about the dinner, it was so incredibly elaborate with ingredients layered upon other ingredients, with precision. And the elaborateness of the dinner is then sort of echoed in the elaborateness of the schedule. It scales up to this kind of slice maximalist details, all the way going for, you think it's going to go one way with voting for one party, with the string of texts, and then it has this reversal. But yet, regardless of which political party and it's really about helping a neighbor go through just the checklist of everyday life. And it's sort of a less politically charged kind of atmosphere. It's a real celebration of, neighborliness.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting how the first two favors of the stories, they were very concise, contained favors, and then this favor, it just kind of slowly spun out of control, where really the first favor is offering dinner, right? It's like, hey, have a bowl of dinner, and then it's like, well, obviously something else needs to happen. What's going on? It's like, oh, well, if you don't mind giving me a ride to the DMV. Well, if you don't mind giving me a ride to the DMV, it's like give a mouse a cookie kind of. It just spirals into this, all of a sudden.
The day was shot, Tom. The day was shot.
It was shot. And so it was a great sort of, cascading effect of building a larger and larger world. On that
point, it does seem like the approach here, there was no, in Rock and Tusa's story, there was this lumbering presence, and the neighbors kind of knew each other, Whereas this one, it was just said Sasquatch knocked on the window, and there was immediate recognition. And then, like these seemed like they were closer pals, a little bit. And the first story, they're just having to get each other, and we get the hesitations, the deep but unsure, the trying to process what is happening out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
So there were different degrees of how well the characters knew each other that allowed, I think, the better you knew each other, the more the plot could kind of take off and get into this bigger world, because they had pre-established trust. They knew how to get in and like what their lives and routines would look like.
Interesting. It's yeah, I mean, another great story, and that's why they're the top three. We had three great stories, and only one way to figure out who's going to take home the prize of the day, who's going to take home the prize of the week, and that is we got to update the leaderboard, check it out. But first, we have to go through these commercial break. That is Baloney, the Cologne by Tony Stallone. Pick it up at any major retailer or gas station, I hear.
Gas station cologne is the way. That is what our users want.
It is what they want. It's what they need. So let's see. We will hit up. Let's do the top 5 sentences of the week, I guess, first.
Yeah, let's build some suspense. This is everything at the end.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's hit the top 5 sentences of the week. And I've got it queued up there. I just need to queue up here so I can read along. And here we go. So, number 5 from Slice. My day was shot, save for the upcoming entertainment of a large room full of state government bureaucracy consumers realizing they're sitting in the presence of the elusive Bigfoot. Number 4 from Racontus. I came home from work, Sasquatch said, gesturing to his loosened necktie, and saw that my heirloom yard flamingos are missing from the lawn. Can you help me find them? Number 3 from Meet French. Social studies class soon turned into a history's celebrity boxing match where old rivals like Steve Irwin and an alligator or Galileo and Vincenzo Maculano would adorn singlets and wrestle like luchadores in one final grudge match to determine history's true victors. Number 2 from Carl Wrights, standing 6 feet tall in an ancient leopard fur Mongolian armor with 2 dual-wielded battle axes, Genghis Khan unleashed a battle cry and pounced onto Mr. Moon. And the number 1 sentence of the week, coming from Excited Reader 11, the yellow figure disappeared into the blue portal, which appeared again. This time, it was sucking everything in sight. The class and forest was teleported into Vietnam.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Those sentences with the lack of synchronization to your voice. That was a wild ride we just went on with Storyflix Movie Maker.
Well, I'm glad you went along with me. Buy the ticket, take the ride. That's what they say. So glad you're still here with us. All right. So hit and refresh. Our winner of the day, Slice, coming in first with 20 points. Meet French coming in second, getting 15. Racontus in third with 10. And so what that does to the weekly leaderboard, Slice winning the day, winning the week. Unbelievable stuff there. Excited Reader 11, Meet French tie for second. And then Carl Wrights and Racontus round out the top 5.
Wow. What 2 weeks in a row for Slice. Very impressive work. We'll have to see. We're getting some new entrants into this sort of Creative Writing Thunderdome. It'll be interesting to see who comes back next week.
It always is. And so until then, we will be. I'm actually not signing off, so I don't know why I'm doing that.
What's the prompt?
Yeah, I know, right? I got to say the prompt until I sign off. All right, so here's the prompt for next week. Oh, geez, I didn't even have the leaderboard up. I was looking at it. I'm sorry. There we go. There was the leaderboard that I was just freaking out about. Slice, Excited Reader 11, Meet French, Carl writes, Rack and Tooth, our prompt for next week. So I have to go to the post office, so we can't do the live stream on Thursday or Friday. So we will be back on Monday.
You're in that Sasquatch, the first Sasquatch. So you gotta hike. You gotta hike 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Not like the third one where you can get a ride from your neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, even then,
2
it's
days
it's So our prompt for next Monday, get this in by 4:30 Sunday, I believe.
4:30 Monday.
4:30 Monday. Wow, get this in by 4:30 Monday. A knight from King Arthur's court encounters an alien spaceship. So that's the prompt. Greg, what are you thinking about this prompt for our authors?
This is the mashup of two cultures. We've got somebody in the Middle Ages, and we've got an alien spaceship. What could go wrong, Tom?
It seems like a lot could go right. I mean, you do have your characters, you do have your setting. It's the plot. The plot is the question mark. Is it a good encounter? Is it a bad encounter? Are they wary of each other? Are they peaceful of each other? That's where the crux of this prompt lies, I think, is in that plot.
Yep, it's gonna have some world building and plot.
Oh, well, can't wait to see what our authors come up with. If it's anything like this week, it will be completely unhinged. So, all right. Until next week, keep writing in between the lines.
And kids, don't let your creativity be captured.
Turn on the screen tonight, short stories in the spotlight. Writers bring their best to light. The story central time. Breaking down the plot, characters that fought, twist that hit the spot. It's all you live tonight. Are you ready for some stories in a live stream glory? It's the contest of the year. Writers have no fear. Catch the suspense unfold. Feel the tales being told. Critiques fair and bold. The truth will soon be known. Jawless from far and wide. Mysteries you can't hide. Every twist takes us all right. By these rules we abide. Are you ready for some stories?